There's a picture on the screen of me for those who can't see, but I'm Robert Barnard. I'm the co-founder of Youthful Cities. I'm going to talk a little bit about Youthful Cities, and I'm also CEO of Toboggan Flats. I am I'm a man, and I've got sort of salt and pepper hair, but most people just know me because I've got orange glasses. And this is the panel, the funky glasses. So I don't know what Mike and Amanda are going to do next, but that's what we are. So, but I'm 58 years old. But I'm curious, how many people in the room are under 30? Just put up your hands. Nice. How many people in the room would like to be under 30? Just put up your hands. Yeah. I ask that question when I speak a lot, and it's interesting that everyone puts up their hands pretty well. If you're under 30, you want it. Because I asked you to, you had to put up your hand. But those who are not under 30 say, yeah, like I want to be under 30. Here's the next question. You can shut it out even. This is audience participation. Last year they said we needed more audience participation, so here I am. So on the Global Happiness Index, you ever heard of that, Global Happiness Index? They did a ranking of those people who answered that survey who are under 30. So what does Canada rank for people under 30 in the world on happiness? We just shout it out. There's 187 countries in the world, so take your pick. Who wants to say? Come on, let's go. 100th? 14th? 25th? 52? 58th? 58th. We rank in the top 10 if you're over 65. Overall, we're, I think, in the mid-teens, 58th for young people. So I think one of the challenges, we talked about it actually at the break. I'm actually going to get to my slides too. And somewhere there's something here that I could use to get to my slides. But I talked to someone at the break, and he was saying, one of the members of the team here putting on this amazing conference, that when he was kind of deciding after a student where he would go, he said, I took German. I was like thinking about I could go anywhere. I'm mobile. What's keeping me here? Does he have the loyalty to stay in Halifax? Well, I'll throw another stat at you. Ipsos did a study about 4 or 5 months ago and asked Canadians, would you be interested in leaving Canada to join the United States? How many people in this room would like to do that? No? Well, if you're under 30, 43% said yes. And so everyone got mad, like, what are these young people? They have no loyalty? Have you not heard about the youth unemployment challenges we've got right now? Have you not heard about the housing challenges we have right now? The affordability challenges that we have right now? And now on top of that, this is when I get to my first slide. Thank God. Okay, let's see. The loneliest subgroup in Canadian society is young people. Jobs, housing, loneliness. That's a really big problem. And this is the Stats Canada version. We actually asked in Youthful Cities, in a sense, and you can see the loneliness here, how lonely do you feel? We had 75% saying at least somewhat lonely. So, I think when we're looking at on loneliness and about health, we're trying to build design that's actually going to make people less lonely. So the next thing that we looked at was looking at housing in Canada. And we know that about a third of young people live at home in their family home, and a third are renting with their friends, and a third are 20% living downtown. That particular number, and I've been working on researching and understanding younger generations for the last 30 years or so. That's one of the lowest numbers we've seen as far as number of young people downtown. And again, I ask Canadians, how are downtowns doing right now? Not so good. We need to get more young people living downtown. We need to find ways of getting them downtown, but that has to be affordable housing. So as we start thinking about, again, loneliness, how do we make young people less lonely? We think about housing, affordable housing. It kind of always leads you into this idea that if we could share places, we could be less lonely and we could actually save money. Makes sense, right? In Canada, though, there's a really interesting, as we've grown up in this huge, huge country with so much land, the aspiration that we tell our children, the aspiration we tell each young generation is that a single family home, independent, with a nice big backyard is the goal. That's what you're told all the way through. And yet we have, and we do have lots of ways we can share housing in Canada. We have congregate living. We have seniors living. We have student housing. We have transitional housing. We have, and we have supportive housing. All of those are forms of congregate living. But the way that Canada's been built up is it's actually pretty tough to build anything in Canada that isn't in those 4 slots. So if you're not in one of those 4 slots, there's no equity. If you're one of those 4, then you get a place to live, potentially, although we've only got 10% of our housing, 10% of students are housed in Canada versus 40% in the United States and 40% in the United Kingdom. So there's still a long way for us to go when it comes to this form of living. One of the things we're working on at Toboggan Flats is just how do we get more people living in between in this congregate living style. We call it co-living. So co-living looks like this. You've got a private room, it's safe, it's got a nice window, it's got likely a fridge, it's got a nice bed, it's got a sofa, it's got a desk. Like you do everything in your bed. Like it's an elevated version of a university student housing. And you can then share resources. You can share facilities. You can share washrooms, kitchens, laundry. And if you can do that, I met some people from the city and on the climate side. One, you're going to use a lot less resources, right? If we're sharing them, as opposed to splitting up into micro units or 1-bedroom apartments or studio apartments all the time. If you're living with other people, you're saving money, sharing resources, sharing the environment. That's all good. So what we've been doing at Toboggan Flats is we've been saying there's another problem. In Halifax, I'll talk to that in a second, but Halifax, 14% of the office buildings downtown are vacant. And that hasn't really changed since COVID. 14% is a lot of square footage that has nothing going on. It's actually costing the people money to run it. We want to turn that into housing. This is what a floor plate might look like. And you can subdivide it into all kinds of different units. So maybe you have 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7 people sharing. Although there's all kinds of challenges structurally with governments in doing that, but we're working through that. What you see in the very top, though, is the community area. This is a place right off the elevators in an office building that's turned into housing where you've got common kitchens. You've got a place where everyone in that floor can hang out. You've got a screening area. It's got nice big windows looking to the outside, lots of light. It's actually drawing in the community so that we can actually reduce loneliness amongst our young people. Okay, so here's the next poll. How many people in this room want to live like this? This section over here, you are my best friends. We'll talk after. Okay, what do you think? What about young people? Not that you're not young, I'm just saying. What percentage of young people say they want to live like this in a converted downtown office building that's in a co-living format where you have a private room and you share facilities, build connections, get closer to jobs, save money? What percentage? Shout it out. 60%, 50%. There you go. Who said, yeah. Very high means at a scale of 10, they're saying 9, 10. Interested is anyone over 5. Got 80% of young people saying this is something they would do. Again, at about $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month, furnished, ready to go, you can have this. What about Halifax? Halifax any different? I always think, and I love Halifax, and I've been here over many, many times, collaborated with Evergreen and the Economic Council on a project back in 2018 where we were looking at the future of housing. One of the things that I love and hear so much about the East Coast generally is the sense of community. So one would think, right, that if you've got a really strong sense of community, that young people are less lonely here, right? No, they're actually not. They're still lonely here, still lonely in Halifax, still need to find ways of making connections in Halifax, in just like the rest of the country. So that's one of the challenges that we want to take on with Toboggan Flats is how do you create housing that has an aspiration that is actually about human connection as opposed to isolation. You put young people in one-bedroom apartments, basement apartments, an hour commute from their jobs, it's going to make it really, really tough for them to contribute to the economy, and they're just going to go somewhere else. So interest in co-living in Halifax, there you go. It's the same. In fact, on the medium scale, it's actually even higher than the rest of Canada. So tons of interest, and well, not all of you are going to be interested because you probably all have nice places to live. This concept we think is now just waiting for a building in Halifax to get us going. And I'll just finish this one aspiration. Is I mentioned that first stat about Canada's ranking in the world on the loneliness index. You know, that's kind of been my passion for the last 30 years or so, is to make Canada the best country in the world for young people. And that actually doesn't just suit young people. It suits everybody. It puts more money into tax revenue. It puts more money into pension funds. It puts more money into the economy if we have young people who are housed, who have great jobs, and are less lonely. Thanks very much.